What is up, everyone? Crunchy Frog here, and for months now we have all been aboard the Modern Warfare 2 hype train, waiting with bated breath for each trailer, blog post, and leak/reveal, awaiting this much anticipated follow-up to 2019's Modern Warfare reboot. Well, the time has finally come, and Modern Warfare 2 has launched to the public. Since then, I've been putting an immense amount of time behind the sticks, both on stream and off, and today I want to give you my first impressions of the game at launch. Basically what works, what needs to be better, and in my opinion, of whether you should pick up the game or not, if you haven't already. Today, I'll only be reviewing the multiplayer portion of the game, and I'll give you guys a video review of my opinion on the single-player parts and the Spec Ops portion of the game, the co-op game mode, at another time. So today's just multiplayer, but, so we'll just go over that part today. As always, if you enjoyed this kind of content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest Modern Warfare 2 news and information. I'll also be doing a lot of commentaries, discussions, thought pieces on the game throughout its life cycle, and so definitely want to stick around for that. So we'll jump right in here, and before we get started with my full list of pros, I just want to say that despite what my neighbors, my girlfriend, and honestly anyone with ears within a 10-mile radius of my apartment may think, I do actually really enjoy this game. Annoying deaths aside, this game is very fun and quite rewarding at times. So fun, in fact, that, once some of these issues that I list later on in the cons category are addressed, it could very well be in my top 3 favorite CODs of all time. And I do not say that lightly. I do not say that, just for the video. I mean it 100%. At its core, this could be one of my very favorite CODs, but it has some work to do. So before we start talking about some of the bad stuff, we'll jump right in with what I ended up enjoying. So very first here, we have the gunplay feels very satisfying. And I've said that about Vanguard as well, and I've kind of said it about Modern Warfare 2019. It just feels like every year they just push it to more and more of a fine-tuned masterpiece in terms of gun feel, how kills feel, everything like that, like hit marker sounds, and the reward for conquering, the recoil and gun physics and everything. Because again, these guns have a lot of recoil, so whenever you're able to master that and kind of still nail down an accurate shot on an opponent, it feels great. The hit marker sounds, like I said, it's crunchy, it's redeeming. There's even like a kill sound, and it's tiny little subtle things like that, but they just kind of pick at your brain in the right way and feel satisfying. After all, the core principle of COD is getting kills and going on streaks and everything like that, and that's what you need to work well in these games, and in this game it works fabulously. At the end of the day, obviously, again, this is the biggest hurdle. Something that is crucial to COD, right? That dopamine release and gameplay cycle of getting kills, hitting your shots, everything like that. And this game does it damn near flawlessly when the connection's good and everything. And when things are going your way and you're not dying 6 times in a row to that damn sniper on the other team, it is immensely fun. So, that's obviously the biggest one. And that's why overall I still really think this game has a lot of potential, because the core, fundamentals of the game are very solid. I also really enjoy the new weapon platform system. I really enjoy, it's kind of a new way to unlock attachments and guns. I've heard some people complaining, but for me, I really enjoy it. It gives you a reason to use some of the guns that maybe you otherwise would have never used, and forces you to branch out, but in a meaningful way. Whenever you use the weird assault rifle that you didn't really want to, you're not just getting 100 XP from a challenge, you're actually getting a new gun to use. So it takes, before they kind of use challenges to make you step out of your comfort zone, but now it's how you progress. You have to be a well-rounded Call of Duty player to advance, and I really enjoy that. It also gives an opportunity, for many new guns to come in the future that are iterations on the existing guns and platforms we have today. And obviously that's looking a little too far forward for season 1, 2, 3, 97, however many seasons they have. But you can kind of really see how they've set that up, that at any point they can add maybe an LMG version of the P90 or something like that, that they can add to these weapon trees and add entire weapon trees themselves at certain points. And I really think that it is going to be a really great way to give us content going forward as well. The next part is I really enjoy the camo system. It may be too easy depending on how many guns everyone seems to finish within the first 5 or 6 months of the life cycle. I know myself, I have 2 gold guns already. My one friend who is, bless his heart, not even that great at COD, actually has 4, I think he said. So people are getting them really quick. I know, obviously some streamers and stuff have 30, 40 already and whatever, but at its core, I really enjoy it, but we might find that it's maybe too easy. And I'll get into that in an entirely different video, so I don't want to touch on it too long. But overall, I found it much less frustrating and a lot more rewarding than the last 3 years of COD, The weapon levels are lower and the camo system is much better. I have a full-time job. I know I make content on the side as a hobby and I game as a hobby, but I do have a full-time job and this just feels so much more realistic. I don't have to get 100 long shot kills and then get another 100 long shot kills with a certain attachment just in the hopes of getting gold. It's just much more attainable. And we'll see how that plays out again over this 2-year life cycle, but overall, I could definitely see myself pushing for platinum or maybe even the mastery camo. The next part is the graphics look absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's not a massive leap. We're kind of to the point in gaming now where we're not seeing those massive leaps like we did in the late 2000s and early 2010s, right? Every game is just going to look a little bit better than the one you played last year, and that's okay. I think this game looks great. They've added a lot of new colors and, into the color palette of the game. It's not as drab and dreary as 2019's was. And the lighting is obviously worlds better, so it looks a little more realistic. And some maps have a great baked-in lighting system that feels kind of authentic to real life. Like you can almost say, you've lived days like that before, where the sun was at that exact level in the sky and stuff like that. So it's definitely getting up there in fidelity. And I think the game just looks gorgeous, and the operators in gun models and everything look great as well. Next, while there are some maps I don't like, and we'll talk about that in the next section, I actually do enjoy quite a few of the maps included at launch, especially Farm 18, and I want to say it's like Alcino. It's another like kind of farm map. There's like a building in the middle. I haven't familiarized myself with all the names just yet. But it is another great map. The racetrack map, I forget what they had to call it now. It used to be Grand Prix, but they had to change things around due to copyright. I even don't really hate the hotel map that everyone else seems to hate. But, some great maps. I really hope that they give us some throwbacks and some remasters here soon. I know with Season 1 they are going to be, so that's good. But as it stands right now, there's definitely some good maps and some maps that I'll probably remember, several years into the future. So there's obviously a couple more things I could probably go into, but those were the big ones. I don't want to make this video too long. So next we will touch on cons. Unfortunately, this game is not perfect. Far from it in its current state. In fact, I'll probably make an entire separate video detailing all that I want Infinity Ward to fix or add to the game. So I won't go into too much detail on any of these parts. And in the interest of time and making this video short, but I will briefly touch on everything that has shaped my experience to give a fair view, if you're watching this video, to find out if you should get it, to find out what kind of state the game is in currently. Currently, there are a lot of crashes, especially when playing with a squad. I know Infinity Ward released a hotfix that kind of fixed it, made it a little better, but it's still rough. I played about 2 hours tonight on stream with 4 friends, and we still had 1 or 2 crashes for some of my members. Mine did not crash for the first time since launch, I will say, so it's a little more stable than it was 2 or 3 days ago, and that'll probably keep improving with each day as they release more hotfixes and everything, but as of right now, a lot of crashes. My game has hard closed the dashboard probably no less than 15 to 20 times since launch, and I use an Xbox Series X. My friend, similar numbers, and he's on PC. So again, it's kind of affecting everyone. They're aware of some certain things that are causing them, but as of right now, a lot of crashes. And to tie in with that, there's a lot of glitches as well. Like, for example, one of the biggest ones that's been making me mad is when you're in a party, it keeps reverting you to like a weird Warzone 2.0 screen if you try to go to the gunsmith, and you can't edit your classes, and there's like 10 random classes with like random guns, and there's like a little tooltip that comes up saying like you can buy the M4 for $5,000, and I'm assuming that's all a nod to the DMZ purchasing system, because that game, like a Tarkov type game, from what I gather, the whole point is to buy guns to go in. That's your kind of gamble. If you load up and end up dying, you lose that. So I think it's just kind of like leftover assets. Like somewhere the logic loop is just taking us to this Warzone 2.0 screen, this DMZ screen. But I didn't have it happen tonight, actually. I was surprised. I think it happened once, maybe for like a brief second. But all this weekend, it was mind-numbing. After every single match, it would happen. There's also a lot of various UI glitches and issues, and I could list these forever. But your best bet is to go to Reddit and look up the full... I know there's several threads of all of the known glitches and bugs and everything like that. And then overall, there's just been a lot of matchmaking issues and, stuck at the connecting screen, stuff like that we see in kind of every COD. But again, tonight has been a far better experience in that regard, so hopefully some of those are on their way out. Next, and this is probably what you guys have been hearing all over Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you get your media here, but there's a lot of missing core elements. Now, again, I'm not going to list these in detail because this is going to be a separate video, but I'll just run through these. It's missing hardcore mode. I don't play hardcore mode personally, so I'm not really that pissed, but a lot of people do, and they are really angry. I mean, that is a big part, right? We're also missing challenges. Not sure what happened there. I'm assuming that's a bug. That should be back at some point. We're missing the camo unlock notifications in games, so there's like a weird glitched out little trophy that comes up, but nothing big and robust saying, hey, you got blue tiger. Hey, you got this, the spray paint camo, whatever. Calling cards and emblems that can actually be unlocked. That kind of ties in with the challenges, right? You can't get a cool little calling card for getting 5 Semtex kills anymore or going on a 10 kill streak. All that stuff seems to be missing at this point. Again, not sure if that's intentional or bugged. They also ended up having to remove the ping system and the weapon tuning system that were taken out day one. And ironically enough, the ping system was something that I would have added to the positives for this game, because I was so happy to see the ability to ping in multiplayer instead of just Warzone. And then they took it out on us because of various glitches and exploits, and the weapon tuning has been removed for a similar issue. The weapon tuning I didn't use that much, but, I didn't get the chance to, but that's been ripped out as well. So even stuff that they did give us on launch, they've now taken away because it's broken. So not a good look. There's also no leaderboards, and with that, no stats or barracks. And thank God, honestly, because I shudder to think what my KDR is right now. But we're just going to be glad that it's not there. But either way, Infinity Ward needs to add that back. My day of reckoning needs to come at some point. So other than that, there's also no operator unlocks or leveling from COD Vanguard. Now that's kind of, I know that could be a game to game thing, but I was really hoping that they bring that back, and for a game that does progression so well and they've added so many cool ways to progress in Call of Duty, taking that out seems like a huge step backward. So I'm adding it to this list just because it bugged me, and to me it is a step back for the series, even if it was intentionally left out. And onto the maps now. Again, above I listed some of the maps I thought were good, but overall there is still only 10 at launch because they ripped out Museum. So there was supposed to be 11, but they ripped out Museum. Now there's only 10, and several are just like bite-sized chunks that are taken out of the Ground War Invasion maps, which are in and of themselves just chunks taken out of Warzone and the theorized DMZ map. So essentially you have these that aren't really supposed to flow as a 6v6 multiplayer map, but they ended up taking, the best chunk they could out and made that a map. And I really hate when they do that. So some of those maps I don't like very much. And some of them are just downright awful. And I have to take a second here during my review. I know I'm trying to go quick and pound through these, but I really have to stress how much I hate the border crossing map. It is one of the worst maps I've ever played in Call of Duty. And I even saw GameStop make a meme about it on Twitter. I mean, even GameStop is out here memeing on Twitter. The place that gave you 75 cents for 45 games that you brought in 2012. Yeah, they are even saying how bad this map is. So I don't know if they need to remove that or rework it or what, but it is awful. Just look up the Santa Sena border crossing, and it's literally just a highway with a bunch of exploding cars on it. It is horrible. But overall, on a lot of the map design, again, it kind of carries over from the last couple of games of there's a lot of random little hallways and windows and stuff like that that you could get shot of. I never really feel safe. Safe in that, I can look over all of the routes around me and protect myself. Like there's always some random element to it of, well, I get shot from this window. Sometimes you go out and there's 6 different ways you could get shot from. You only have time to look at 2, and you pray to God the 2 you look at are ones where enemies are coming from, and you don't get shot from one of the other 4. It's a little bit toned down than it was in, like, say, COD Ghosts or Modern Warfare 2019, but it is still there. It adds a lot of random, unnecessary deaths, and it is annoying. You don't feel like you can really control the map as well as some of the Treyarch maps or some of the old school Infinity Ward maps back in COD 4 or Modern Warfare 2. The UI is also not great, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about that as well. Others have said that they actually brought in a team that designed the UI for Hulu. Now, I don't use Hulu too often, so I can't comment on that, but apparently it looks almost identical, and I gotta say, it is so unintuitive. This is one of the most unintuitive designs I have ever used. Like, for example, you have to scroll through 189 camo options just to find the one you've unlocked to add it to your weapons. So, again, I'm not going to get into how the camos are unlocked, but essentially, there's 4 camos for each weapon, right? So you can either pick one of those if you happen to unlock it for that weapon, or you can pick any of the camos that you've unlocked for other weapons. To do so, you have to scroll through 189. There's no quick sort. There's no, hey, here's the 10 camos you've actually unlocked. You want to pick these first? No, you scroll through. In my case, I have like 12 camos unlocked, I think, or 13. I have to scroll through all 189 just to get one of the ones I love using. Red Tiger is at the very, very end of the list. Now, again, it's only 10, 15 seconds here and there, but it is just so bad, and I hope they change that going forward. The gunsmith in general isn't horrible. I don't hate it as much as I hated it in the beta. They've changed things a little bit for the better, but it's still pretty bad. And honestly, Modern Warfare 2019 just did it so much better. Overall, realistically, the UI from the last 3 games was pretty good, and I wish they would have just stuck with that and maybe just refined it here and there or added a button here and there. It is just not good this year. And finally, this is just a little nitpick, more so just of an annoyance, but some of the sniper and marksman rifles seem to be pretty OP, as well as the headshot modifier on some rifles. So it leads to some, kind of cheap feeling deaths. I know that snipers and marksman rifles take that extra little bit of skill to get because you have to hit your shots. But man, if you get in a lobby with someone that can even kind of hit their shots, it is horrible. You lose a bunch of gunfights that you really feel you should not be losing. So again, that's more of a subjective just annoyance. I'm not going to knock the game for having, decently powered marksman rifles in it, but it does get on your nerves from time to time. So overall, I am enjoying my time with this year's iteration of Call of Duty. Activision Infinity Ward hoped that, by naming it after a game that many of us, myself definitely included, hold near and dear to our hearts, that they would just win us over straight out of the gate. And it kind of seems that Infinity Ward banked on us being so blinded by, nostalgia and Task Force 141 and Ghost and Soap and Price and everyone, that we would just overlook the rather sorry state that the game has been released in. I mean, for over a year now, we've heard how smooth the development process has been, how Infinity Ward has been ahead of the game and, development-wise, and how the game has been ready for quite a long time and would arrive polished and full of features. They really made it seem to stand out from the train wrecks that were the last 2 years. But we know now that that is not the case. I'll be bluntly honest. This game is unfinished. It's almost a beta 2.0, a weird middle ground between a playable demo that we got a month ago and a full-featured release. Core functionalities that we've come to expect from COD are just simply missing. The map offering is low, especially compared to last year, and ties to its 2009 daddy are unfortunately few and far between. And as we've come to expect from a COD release, the bugs are running rampant. Boy, am I having fun with it. This game frustrates the hell out of me, raises my blood pressure levels that would honestly concern most doctors, and has damn near been the cause of a broken controller. But it also brings me great joy, and behind the unfinished state and the bugs lies an incredibly strong skeleton of a great game. A game that I'm shaking with anticipation to see grow and develop. I eagerly await seasonal content drops, hot fixes, patches, reworks that will hopefully shore up the lagging parts of the game to bring them up to snuff with its best parts, which are the shooting and progression and the fun factor. I'll likely have to do another review like this or a retrospective 1 or even 2 years from now when the game is at the end of its life cycle, since I'm sure the game will change drastically between now and then. But for right now, I'm just hopeful. I'm playing the game, I'm enjoying it, and I'm hopeful to see it, go up from here. Hopefully this is rock bottom, and every week, every month, it's just going to get better and better and more content, and really looking forward to it. In my opinion, if you haven't gotten the game just yet, and you weren't one of the millions that stayed up until midnight hoping to recapture a small part of your waning youth to play on launch day, like myself, you may want to hold off until Season 1, or even just some updates that drop later this week or the next week. But believe me, whether it be in a month or a week, you will definitely want to pick this game up, and I have high hopes for this being a great COD outing. And hopefully it will be, because we have it for the next 2 years. So other than that, guys, that about wraps it up. I appreciate everyone who stuck around this long. And leave a comment below if you're enjoying Modern Warfare 2 and what you would do to change it, and what your hopes are for the next 2 years of this Call of Duty life cycle. So other than that, I'll leave you guys with that. And remember to leave a like and subscribe if you wish to see more content like this. I try to upload 2 to 3 times every week. So without further ado, I'll let you guys go, and you have a great one. Bye.